Let's do this again. So here we have another expression, and we can apply these laws to try to simplify this expression. So notice that there's two ways to start. So we have the complement of a multiplication problem. So right away we think of De Morgan's law because we know how to apply that. The other thing that we could do is to do the distributive law, right? Where we just distribute that multiplication inside that addition problem. So two different ways to start this problem. Let's go ahead and do them both. So I'm going to start this one with De Morgan's law, and then we'll come back and do it starting with the distributive. So the De Morgan's law, and we need to be really careful that what we do now is we take the complement of the first property, or the first factor, so that's the complement of x, and now it becomes an addition problem, and it is the complement of the second factor. Now the second factor is y plus the complement of x, and it's that whole thing, the complement of that whole thing. So that's an important, to make sure we get those parentheses right, so we have a complement of the entire second factor, which is y plus the complement of x. And this is De Morgan's. All right, now that we have that, let's do De Morgan's again to work with this right-hand factor, right? So we'll leave the complement of x alone. And now we have the complement of an addition, which is the complement of the first term times the complement of the second term, which is the complement of x complement, right? Because it's the complement of x. And that's De Morgan's applied again. So, all right, now we have this double complement, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. We have the complement of x plus the complement of y times the double complement, right? And double complement law says that we can reduce that to x. So that just becomes x, and that's the double complement. Law. Okay. And now let's use the distributive in the other direction that we used last time. Now let's take that complement of x and distribute it into that multiplication. So we end up with the complement of x plus the complement of y times the complement of x plus x. All right, and that is the distributive law. Distributive property, that's fine too. And okay, now we have the complement of x plus x. And if we look down here, when we have x plus the complement of x, that equals 1. So we end up with all of this times 1. And let's see, what's the name of that law? That's the complement law. And now if we times anything by 1, that's the identity law. It just becomes itself. So now we have the complement of x plus the complement of y. And that's the identity law. And now, notice we no longer need the parentheses, right? So we can just get rid of those. There's no law to do that. There just isn't any reason for them. So we can just say, okay, now that's just the complement of x plus the complement of y. Now we could apply De Morgan's, and that would become the complement of xy. But then we just have to decide which one's simpler, right? So it depends what your purposes are for. You really could choose to stop at this point or at this point, either one. So either one that works best for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish.